Welcome to the Consummate Athlete podcast, where we explore what it means to be a well-rounded, happy, goal-crushing athlete. Every week, myself, sports journalist Molly Herford, and cycling coach and kinesiologist Peter Glassford interview experts and chat through all of your training questions. We're excited to have you along for the ride. Hello. Welcome back to the Consummate Athlete podcast. Peter, how's it going?
It's going well. Yeah, we're excited to finally be able to get this episode out.
Oh my God, your voice is not nearly excited enough.
I thought that was exuberant.
I was going to do like announcer, like UFC style, like, you thought it was exciting when he won the ICEMAN Cometh. You thought it was exciting when he held 400 watts for 90 minutes in a crit in Windsor, Ontario.
Yeah, the biggest
crit in Windsor, Ontario. All of this, you thought it was great when he got 5th in a World Cup short track, or 11th in a World Cup last season. But now, Noah Ramsay has won Zwift Academy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very exciting. Really, really cool. So we are having Noah back. We had him on just a few months ago when he won the Iceman, which was very exciting. And he was coming to this critical point. There's sort of a couple points in a young athlete's development, right?
We should also add that Peter has been his coach up until...
So about 5 years. And so he was a younger man when we started, and that was just, pre-pandemic 2019. He hadn't done a ton of racing at that point. So it's quite exciting that in about 5 years, he went from a bit of weekly racing. His dad rides. So it's not that he had never ridden a bike before or anything like that, but was very new to racing. No one had really heard of him. He didn't have any results to speak of. And then over about 5 years has gone now where he has won the Zwift Academy and is now going to ride for a pro tour team.
Yes, Alopecia Dunkirk devotee.
I'll leave that to you, but it's good. And where that goes, we'll have to see, right? It's sort of up to him now to perform at this new level in the elite category. And that's what I was saying is there's sort of these phases, right, where an athlete will go in life too, not just in racing, but they go they're leaving high school, they're getting into high school. There's these phases in life where do you go the school and relationship and all these things, or are you more going towards the cycling and pushing on that? Not that they're mutually exclusive, and I don't think they should be, but there's sort of these junctions where there will be a dropout. You certainly, Molly, speak towards women. We see a huge amount of dropout, and then there's what are the reasons for that? Support and... I was going to say, of which they are varied and many. Right. So the next one, though, is when the athletes go from U23 to elite. And so that's right where Noah was in the fall. And so there was this urgency that we felt, where he didn't have a big sponsor. He was still very nicely supported by Bateman's in Toronto, which is a great shop, but is a local shop. It's not a UCI trade team that you might need to go into a World Cup mountain bike type situation.
Yeah, and I love in this interview, which is very funny and honest, and it's a really fun one. Noah does talk about his goal. It was not to get on Alopecia Dunkirk Devo. I've been really practicing saying that.
Okay,
I just want to point
impressed
that
you
out.
had that in stock.
I'm a cycling journalist, Peter. It wasn't that he wanted to make it on the road team or an esport team or a mountain bike. He just wanted to be a professional cyclist in 2025. That was the goal. He was not sure how it was going to come out. So, if you look again at his fall, he really did, let's say throw spaghetti at the wall a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Multiple disciplines. There was...
And made it work.
The crit in Windsor, and then there was, this Iceman,
and
the World Cup UCI.
The beer mile, third in the beer mile at Christie Cross.
At the Christie Cross in Toronto, for sure.
And I think, before we get into it with him, I do want to just kind of quickly ask you, though, a lot of people in cycling want to do a billion things. And to be honest, this kind of scattershot approach isn't necessarily going to work for everyone. So how did you, as his coach during that time, kind of help him keep it reined in enough that even though he was kind of throwing some spaghetti at the wall, he wasn't just hucking penne, which would immediately fall off the
Okay.
wall. I don't know. That's
That's
a
a deep analogy.
tortured metaphor.
Well, and I said to you, you were doing, there's an article coming out in Canadian Cycling Magazine.
Actually, it will have come out just last week. Definitely pick up the
This is
latest
like
copy.
the March edition, which I always get confused.
The Buyer's Guide. Canadian Cycling Magazine Buyer's Guide. Look for it. Very exciting.
Great people, great articles. Molly writes a lot. I sometimes have some in there, so that's fantastic that the story about Noah got in there. And I was saying to you, when Noah started, again, 2019, 2020, and we started working together, we sort of came into this winter in Canada, and then there was this great pandemic that happened. So the esports was like a big...
By great, he means big, not great, like...
Well, like Great Depression. No one...
There we go, yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Isn't that what people call stuff? I don't know if it was the Great Pandemic, but anyway, we'll leave that one. And so... so esports was a part of Noah's development, which is, I don't know what, like we have no pass. There's no Joe Friel handbook for coaches to go through for esports yet, right? I'm sure someone's trying to write it or ChatGPT's writing it, but this was for better or worse. That's what it was. So Noah has a fantastic engine, and then he also became a mountain biker, and his skills and his tactics have improved over the last bunch of years. But there was this base, if you will, this foundation where he was an esports racer. He's done worlds for esports, and so there's this ability to put out watts on the trainer and in crits and in these things. So it wasn't overnight. That was where he started. That was what cycling was in a lot of ways. So it's really intriguing that, was ICEMAN, it's a short, really hard, whatever it is, an hour and 15, a lot of power is required. It's a lot of double track. So it's not completely out of the range. And then he got into this road camp with Zwift by Zwifting. So it sort of all came together perfectly. And I think it's this perfect amalgamation of his ability to deal with the pressure. He talks a lot about the psychological aspects and things that he struggled with over the course of this year with that pressure, and then being able to rise to the occasion and just show up with the right mindset and aggression and confidence to do it, right? And it's just really, really cool when stuff comes together, because it doesn't often come together. The confidence and the luck and the skill and the fitness don't often come together at the perfect moment, which I think is what happened for Noah this fall.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we are so excited for Noah. Really psyched to see what happens this season. And to kind of keep following along with his progression. But for now, let's get into it with Alopecia Dinnikirk's, TiVo's latest team member, Noah Ramsay. Okay, Noah, first of all, huge congratulations on, what has been just a remarkable season. I don't really know any other way to put it, with all of the amazing things that have happened thus far in the past year. How are you feeling right now?
I don't really know how to describe it. Like, it's a good feeling that I've gotten to this point. This is what I wanted. Like, I wasn't sure if I wanted to race for a pro road team, but I wanted to race for a pro team this coming season. So the main goal for the future was achieved, in a different way than most people do it, but nonetheless, I got there. And
Yeah,
there's
and
still
it comes to me too that it was sort of like a wild end. Like, your season was great, it was going well, and then you were sort of like, I'm going from U23 to elite. I don't know what's going to happen. And you said maybe road, and I was like, I don't know, Noah. That seems a little different. And then there was sort of like the Iceman, and then you got into maybe tell us a bit about that Zwift. Like, you won Iceman, but ahead of that you were doing, is it Zwift Academy you were doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so after MSA, you wanted me to take an off season, and I was like,
Make or break. You got to send.
I'll take 5 days. And I talked to my friends during that week. They were like, you should do this. They already brought up the idea. I was like, you know what? Yeah, Peter, I'm gonna do these workouts. I'm not gonna take an off season. We'll just push it. And
You did take a couple days. You took a 5 day, like you say, pretty chill.
Yeah, I took 5 days. I still rode my bike most of those days, but it was just go do some dirt jumps, and that was it. No actual training, no cardio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I just did the workouts. It was quite rushed because the window is normally really big, August till November 1st, but since I was still racing, I started the workouts with 3 weeks left. So I had to do 2 races and 6 or 7 workouts in that 2 to 3 week window. And they're all max efforts except for one. So
And it's one of those things, it's like, there's the perfect world of like coaching and training and prescription, I guess. But then we sort of turned it into, you did a couple workouts in those weeks, as I recall, but you also did like these, like you say, like maximal Zwift efforts, which were sort of like short and hard. And then that was like in the 3 weeks before Iceman, right? So it sort of set you up for Iceman where you've done this like, I don't know, anaerobic block or like really hard training block into Iceman, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Now, do you think all of the World Cup racing, where it is, short track one day, then the race the next day, like, do you think that actually set you up to be able to do these, like, back to back to back kind of efforts?
Yeah, I think it definitely helped. I think also just I did more hours this year than I've done any other year. So just that base on its own allowed me to just be able to, even though not all the workouts went perfectly, and I like, since it's on the trainer, like I got 20 minutes and I was like, yeah, screw this. And then like I was like, oh well, I have to do it anyway. So I just had to go back the next day and do it. It like let me still put out really good numbers regardless. Like sure, if I had more time and more time to recover, the numbers might have been a bit better, but I still made it to finals with what I did, so it was good
Hmm.
enough.
Now, do you know off the top of your head, sort of if someone was looking at Zwift Academy next year, and we can confirm this, but how many, hard efforts, or we'll call them all workouts, but workouts, races, like what's involved? Like, do you recall the specifics of the Zwift Academy?
Um, there were 6 workouts, and 5 of them were like maximal, like testing of some sort. They were all a bit different. The one that wasn't maximal, I think they were just trying to track your heart rate, like how it progressed, if it dropped, and just what it did throughout the workout. You do it all on erg mode, and then you have a few free ride segments where that's where you test yourself, and that's where the team pays attention to what you're doing. And you have 2 races as well, at least in this year's, and one was a 30-minute just hill climb where normally there's a finish line, but like you started it and there's just a 30-second or 30-minute clock counting down. You just do as much power as you could, which it's kind of weird because I was just racing myself at that point. Like I had 2 other guys in the lobby, but nobody was near me from like a minute in.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, yeah, and the other was just a rolling circuit.
Okay.
Okay, so throughout this, what did your Zwift like at home setup look like when you were doing this like November thing? And did you like tweak it as you did a couple workouts? Like, oh, we need to add a fan, I need to add a bot. Like, how did it look?
Um, it's been pretty much the same as it's always been for me when I train in the fall winter. Which it's just I'm in my unfinished basement, just surrounded by drywall, and sometimes I do it with the lights off, sometimes I do it with the lights on, depending on what my mood is. I always have a speaker, AirPods. I just like play different playlists, also depending on my mood. And I have a fan and I have the windows open. I just try to make it as cold as possible, which at that time of the year, it was still October and it was still warm. So knowing that like I was testing myself and trying to put out as much power, and since I was so hot, this was a new one, but I don't own an ice vest, but I would like wrap a towel full of ice cubes, and then like after each effort or leading into one, I'd grab a couple ice cubes and hold them in my hands while I'm running the trainer, or like rub them on my body or my head, just so I can like cool myself.
Hmm.
Because I noticed that I actually recovered better versus like my basement would start at like 20 degrees and I sometimes would finish with it being at like 32 because like I would create so much heat.
Yeah, and that's so much of the heat adaptation stuff. People think it's whatever, the clothing or the sauna, but like so much comes just from your muscle contraction. And so, yeah, it's a big deal to get that temperature down and the fans and whatnot. So that's really smart.
Hmm.
I'm glad to hear that. Now, with the fans, do you have multiple fans or do you just have one really big one, or what do you do with fans?
I just have one normal one, but it's like it's got a stand, so it just like blows up my face, which is all I really need in terms of airflow.
Yeah,
Like I
keeps the sweat
don't,
from dripping too much.
yeah, if it blows up my body, I don't really notice much. It's more if I don't get airflow to my face like I'm outside, then I'll
Yeah.
overheat for some reason.
Yeah, Stephen Chung was on the podcast a few times, but he was talking about cooling it, and they actually did a study where they would blow super cold, like polar air on people's face with, he called it like a bazooka. So it was like the, thing at the, and then they actually saw, because it was so cold, I think that was the study where they actually saw performance decrease because people's face got too cold. So that's why you want to cover your face in the cold weather, but it's also performance enhancing to cool your face. So it sounds like you figured that out.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that. What about fueling on Zwift? Are you still thinking in terms of like what you would do in kind of like a mountain bike race, or did you have like a different strategy for like bottles and stuff?
I would basically fuel the exact same way I do a hard workout or a race. I try to be at least at 100 grams carbs an hour, and like use a drink mix or gels that I liked. Uh, I wouldn't stress too much about like my normal pre-race prep, like eating 3 hours before and all that. Like oftentimes, I think I was working during that period, so like I would just work a shift all day, maybe go for a spin for an hour before to get the legs moving, but I might eat a Domino's pizza
Oh,
before I went for a ride, like an hour
As
before
an
my shift
example.
was done. That like I did that once and like the workout went fine.
Yeah, it's funny. We do that a lot of times the day before, but yeah, I used to be all concerned, and I was like, I think the pizza is just, it's easy, it tastes good, you feel happy, it's
it
great.
works. It works.
Yeah, whatever, like as long as you don't overthink it, if you feel good and it doesn't hurt you, you might as well do it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, how does racing on Zwift compare to racing, like a World Cup or Iceman, and even just like mentally? Because I imagine it's a little different going from, the like mountain bike World Cup where you're surrounded by people and elbows and dirt and everything to you're in your basement and you need to be kind of pretending that that's happening in order to stay in it. How's it work?
Yeah, it's definitely different mentally. It's just you against yourself. And like for me, it doesn't, I'm just such a competitive person that it doesn't matter that there's no fans. Like it's me, like I just want to beat these people. But sometimes it's tough because you can't actually see the competition. Like somebody's attacking, you're like, I'm dying right now. But like you're not dead, so you might as well keep going. Like
Well,
it I go
true.
till yeah.
You can't
Like
see how
I
they're
go
doing.
yeah, I go till the doors are just completely blown off. Like it ain't over till it's over for me.
And I guess that's
Um
the advantage too. Like you don't have to balance yourself, you don't have to look where you're going. Like you say, the lights might be off.
yeah. Yeah. Tactically, there's like little aspects of the game which I've learned over the years. Uh
Ooh, tell us some. What are the like hot tactics here?
well, it's got aspects of like road racing, so draft is really important and you can use that to your advantage. And positioning doesn't, it matters a bit. Like also your pedaling. So you don't need to pedal very hard on the descents. Like that's where people often like waste more energy than they need. So you can like ease off, maybe surge a bit over the top so you carry speed and then like just roll through the group. You can even sag back. And then right before a climb, because trainers have this thing and like Zwift has this thing, the delay that you might want to speed up, like put a bit of a surge out right before you go into a climb. So you pick up some speed through the peloton and it like slingshots you a bit up the climb and then you can sag a bit through the climb as well. There's all these little things that
Hmm.
yeah, draft is massive though. So it's simple road racing because you can just it's you can go through somebody. You can't go through somebody in real world.
Right.
Yeah,
So
they get mad if you do that, as it turns out.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well, why don't we get so that's Zwift. That's how you so you did all these things, and then they said this guy, his numbers are great based on these workouts. You then subsequently won Iceman, which I don't know if that really helped, but you won it, so that was fantastic. And then you got the news that you got to go to this camp in Spain. It was pretty much right after Iceman, right? It was a pretty short turnaround, a week or so.
Yeah, I did. Well, I got an email at Iceman like the day before the race or the day of the race saying like, hey, you've been picked for the long list. We're gonna do a few interviews. So the following week, well, I had to fill out just another questionnaire about myself and some video of my height and weight to make sure everything was accurate, as I said, for the workouts, because if you say you're like 5 kilos lighter, that's a bit extreme. Uh, yeah, but I did a few interviews with the Zwift team and Alpecin so they can filter through the riders that they want to take specifically to the finals. And I found out, uh, I think a week and a half after uh, Iceman, and then had to get fit again because I took another week off because Peter also wanted me to take another off season.
It's like it's important. So then so you did this, and then it was you and so it was was it three men and three women went to this camp in Spain, and that was sort of like the throwdown that this TV show is based around.
So there were 4 men. I don't know how many women. The women's camp was in Portugal,
Oh,
the week before us. They've done it in the same spot, same time in the past, but like it's 2 different teams, and I guess Canyon SRAM wanted to do it in a different location this year,
oh,
like because it's
interesting.
it's just their training camp, and there just happen to be 3 or 4 riders that are testing to get a contract.
What an odd setup. That's like a TV show. You can make a TV show out of
Yeah,
this, and they did.
And they did.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so then what was that
So
like being at the camp and like being with the cameras on
Yeah,
and
was it like reality TV? Like,
yeah,
is
did
it
you
like
feel
you
like you're in
imagine?
maybe like Survivor? I don't know if you know Survivor. It's a TV show, they vote people off the island. Is it like that?
um I guess in past years they did send 1 or 2 people home early
Oh
um
wow.
if they
Like The
weren't doing
Bachelor
well,
too. Yeah, it's
which I
like
was a little stressed about.
okay.
Going into it, I was like, oh, well, hopefully, like I'm the only North American as far as I knew, because they sent me a day early, so that maybe I'd be a bit more acclimatized to the time change. Uh, which I had a terrible travel day. Like it was 25 hours just because of so many delays. So it didn't matter because I arrived at the hotel at like 4 a.m.
Hmm.
Uh,
Ooh.
but we persisted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with the TV show, do they do like how they have, usually with reality TV shows they have like the confessional. So did they ever have it like cameras on you where they're like trying to get you to like shit talk the other people or
Um, I don't think there was ever like shit talking necessarily, but they like pulled us aside multiple times, like or like once or twice a ride if we like stopped before or after a challenge or after the ride and asked us like how we thought we were doing based on the challenges. And we did an interview basically before we started and after everything was done. So, uh, or like before we were told if we won or lost. So I don't know how those will be uh, edited, but we'll see how that
I'm
looks.
excited for that. Did you think ahead of time when you knew it was going to be filmed, did you start thinking about like, okay, this is the persona I'm going to put on for this and like really think about that? Or was it just like you're going so hard, you're working so hard, you're not thinking about that?
I think just off the bike, I didn't want to come off too cocky because these I guess like some of my friends are like, yeah, you're a cocky asshole, but like it's my friends, so like it doesn't matter. And I had blonde hair at the time before the show, so I got it dyed back because I was like, I'm just gonna look stupid, like especially if I lose. So
That's fair. Yeah, it's fine if you win. You could maybe have gotten
yeah,
away with it,
Or
but
like if you win and it like goes over really well, are you sure that you want to keep that blonde hair like the rest of
oh
your
yeah, now it's
career,
your
right?
thing.
Like, because that's your thing. Then you'd have to be, always dyeing your hair.
I think it's just a thing that I might continue to do in the like fall for the last couple of races of the year if I come back to North America and
Okay.
do these Icemans or local cross races just for fun. But
Are you hoping that they're going to call you the Iceman or something, or what does the blonde hair mean?
Ooh, yeah. Are you gonna like push for a team nickname?
I don't think so. I think I just want to show up to these races in North America and just be a force to be reckoned with.
Okay.
I love
So,
it.
At the camp, then, is there anything, anything that you learned? This is like a high level road camp. You got to go and ride with some pretty high level riders, if not world champions. Was there anything that like stuck out there as far as like new things or like really neat things?
not really. Uh, we like rode together, but there was so much, like it was mostly just the endurance riding together. And we did a couple lead out drills against Alpecin, which we just got destroyed because like we're not sprinters like that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, we were mostly just testing against each other. So it was like mostly like we were talking within competitors. And then there was like we would sit down at dinner with the team and we would talk, but I don't think that I learned anything major.
Okay. Okay. And you're coming into team camp, I guess, when we're speaking now. So I guess the next week will be a big week of new things and whatnot. Is there anything, that you're excited about? So what strikes me is probably the like having people fixing your bike and helping you out as someone who's been a privateer their entire career is going to be a pretty new and exciting thing.
I think just everything about uh this year is exciting. Like actually receiving a salary. All my I don't get to pick my own races, I guess. Like they pick my calendar for me because it's road. So it's a completely new discipline for me, honestly. That's exciting. And yeah, I guess I'm gonna see if I can learn how to race this style of racing that I guess so many North Americans come and do and fail at. And we'll see if I succeed or not.
I don't know, maybe the off-road background will actually be kind of this unique, because usually people don't go in this direction, going from off-road to pro road team. Usually you have people that like, burn out of pro road and then go off-road. So you know what? Maybe this is like a whole new trend that you're setting right now, and it's going to be amazing.
It's hard to say. We do like Ryder Hegedal and like there's lots of different examples too. It goes both ways, I think.
Yeah.
How's getting used to living in Europe? That's also a bit of a shift.
Um, well, I was sick the first week that I was here, so last week. So I basically just stayed inside the whole time. It's very nice. Like I have a grocery store right next to me, so I don't even do bulk grocery shopping. I just go down every day and shop for dinner, which gives me a reason to get out of the apartment. It's a bit weird because I don't speak Spanish, so I just show up in the shop, say hola, and then start speaking English, and then
Usually my tactic, yeah.
say gracias and leave. So we're getting somewhere.
That's two. I guess
Yeah.
it'll grow. Your language skills will improve.
Have you started using like Duolingo or anything to
I
work on the Spanish?
well, I took Spanish for like most of my life as a third language throughout school, so I'm like semi-familiar, but it's a speaking that I'm terrible at.
Right there with
Uh,
you.
so like I can read whatever and it's fine, but like as soon as dialect comes out, I'm like a deer in headlights. So I just have to get better on that front.
Might help. They say when it's like if you you're going to be talking to biking people about biking stuff, and a lot of times they say that's helpful because every other word is Shimano or SRAM or whatever, right? And you sort of get those, and then it can sort of bump along. And so I don't know. It'll be interesting. That'll be another thing we could check in with Noah. Is there anything, Molly, to finish off here that you were hoping to get out of Noah and sort of this winning of the Zwift camp and this opportunity?
We hit a lot of my big questions, but really, I mean, I guess like the big thing is just like this is such a huge change happening so fast. Do you feel like you've actually taken it all in, or do you think it's still kind of like you wake up every morning and you're just kind of shocked that you're here and this is happening?
Yeah, like, I don't even know how shocked I am. I don't think I smiled when they told me I won in the show. Like, I think I was just so stressed. It was just a weight lifted off my shoulders. And I don't even think it's hit me yet. Because, like, I haven't gotten to team camp or anything. I haven't done any races. So, like, I'm still riding even like my own road bike. Like, for me, it's like I'm just on another trip. Like, I'm a week and a half in. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I think it's still new, but it's not this crazy change yet.
I
That I
think it's gonna be in about a month.
Well, I think it's tomorrow, isn't it? It's tomorrow. I think you said, right? So it's,
tomorrow.
yeah. Well, enjoy it. I hope that's a great week. It'll be a very hard week and a new week and a scary week, but I hope you can enjoy that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm excited to get to watch the show and see how it all actually it played out.
So we'll put the links to the to watch the YouTube show, all this like bachelor-esque stuff, and Noah and his not blonde hair. Is there anything else? We'll link to Noah's Instagram as well. Noah, what is your Instagram for those who are listening?
It's at and Ramsay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Check it out. And then on Strava, also, I know a lot of athletes we work with follow you on Strava to get routes around Toronto and I guess worldwide now. So you can check out all the routes and things Noah's up to.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Noah. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Consummate Athlete podcast. If you want to hear more training, racing, and endurance sport advice, make sure you subscribe to the podcast and leave us a rating and review. You can also subscribe to our newsletter at consummateathlete.com for a weekly dose of inspiration and advice straight to your inbox.